everybody. Today we're going to talk about Canvas rubrics, how to set them up, and why it might be a helpful component to add to your course, and how it might actually speed up your grading. So the page that I'm on right now, I got to by coming down on the left side of Canvas and choosing Outcomes. Now when you come here, you're going to see a button in the upper right hand corner that says Manage Rubrics. You can click right there to be taken to our rubric area. If this is the first time you have been in here, you probably will not see anything in here, and so you'll have to create and add a rubric here. These are rubrics I've created ahead of time, and I'm just going to open up one of them just to give you an idea of what it might look like. I'm going to choose a simple one. This is a final reflection that I had my students do. You can see here I've got criteria over here on the left. I've got a ratings, so I don't have a scale for this one. I just give them their points, and then I have an area where I can leave them comments in here, as well as how many points it's worth. You can see at the bottom here, this is worth a total of 10 points with 4 criteria, but there's a lot of flexibility in there. I can also edit it from here if I chose to. So if you wanted to create a rubric from scratch, you would choose to add a rubric. When you do that, we'll call this example tutorial rubric. Okay, from here you can see that you can come down here and edit and put anything you want in the description of your criteria. I have found you have a little more editing capability in terms of the style, bullets, that kind of thing under the long description, which I usually copy and paste in, versus the description itself. So I usually use both of these. This may give a main description and then a little more detail down here at the bottom. You can also give a range here, and this is your rating scale that you want to choose. So let's say you have 5 as your highest. You can give that description, and you can add in maybe a 3 and give that description. I'll go ahead and actually put that in. Goodness. All right, and so right now I have a 5, a 3, and a 0. All these can be edited with the little pencil in the upper right-hand corner, and of course your point values can be changed over here. So you can add a second criteria if you choose to. You can actually duplicate what you already have, or you can create a brand new one. We'll call this criteria 2, further details. You get the idea. Okay, so again, you can have your scale here and your total number of points. So once you have created your rubric, and again, if you have these in another format, I copied and pasted quite a bit of my rubrics from Word documents into this so that I could connect it to a Canvas assignment and use it for grading. So I'm going to go ahead and create, and that works just fine, the copying and pasting. You may have to massage the spacing a little bit or line breaks, that kind of thing, but for the most part it works pretty well. All right, so I went ahead and saved it. So the next step in this, and you can always come back in here and edit any of these at any time if you choose to. So the next step in this is to connect this to an assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my assignment area and show you how you can connect this. Okay, so here I am inside of just an example assignment. This is just for tutorial purposes. Always at the end of an assignment, you will see this plus rubric right here. So if I click on this plus rubric, I can come down here, and you can create it from here if you wanted to. Or you can bring one in that you have already created. So you can really create this in either spot. One of the buttons before I actually find a rubric I want to add to this, I want to make sure you understand is this right here. It says use this rubric for assignment grading. This is going to be important. If you click this, then you will have the ability for this to show up inside a speed grader and use this as a part of your grading. So I'm going to make sure that I choose that. But I'm going to go find our rubric first. So what you have to do here is you have to find your course name over here on the left, and then find your rubric over here in this next column. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, I found my course. Here is our example tutorial rubric with our 2 criteria here, and I'm going to choose use this rubric. Okay, so you can see this was brought in. Now, one thing you need to keep in mind is that if you want to see those options I showed you at the very beginning, you actually have to hit the edit button to edit the rubric. Now, here are those options that I showed you before. You can choose to freeform comments when assessing the students. If I choose to do that, you can see that my criteria here goes away and it is just an open field. So if I unchoose that, you can come back to our regular criteria that we came up with before. But I do want to make sure I use this rubric for assignment grading. And when I do that, it will allow me to use this in SpeedGrader to grade the assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and update it. Okay, so if I now go to SpeedGrader within this assignment, let's say that students already submitted this. One of the things that you'll see, obviously I don't actually have a student that put that that submitted the assignment, but if I did, their submission would be here. But the other thing you have is this view rubric where you can, let's make this a little bit bigger, you can actually click in the box to give them whatever marks that they had, or you can also leave them comments to tell them why they got the different scores that they did. And this will actually show up for students in their grade center with, it looks like a little clipboard that the student can click on and see all of your comments and their scores. So once you have given them marks for everything, you can leave your regular assignment comments that you always leave that may be bigger picture how they do on the assignment. These are meant to be within these criteria themselves. What scores did they get and why? So once you choose save on that, the score is automatically updated depending on what you clicked here, and then you can again add different comments if you choose to here. So then you would just go to your next student and you would see the rubric again. This kind of small amount of time to take to set up the rubric will allow you to assess students via this rubric each time you have a student submission or a new assignment. I have found personally that while it does take a little bit of time to set up initially, it does save me time when I'm assessing my students. And I find, because there are individual comment sections in here, I am giving them feedback that is valuable to them that I may not have done if this were in another format and it wasn't so convenient right here in front of me in Canvas. So these rubrics I have found to not only save me some time, but it's all in one place for students where they can see this inside a grade center and see everything that you're saying. What I had done in the past is I would have an external document, a Word document or something that I would type up and give them comments, and I would actually upload it right here. But that was one more thing that they needed to open up and to read. I found that doing it this way, everything is contained, and it does save me and I think them some time as well. So once again, this is found under Outcomes, and you will connect a rubric to an assignment, and then you are able to, if you choose that option to allow for this to be used for grading, you will always see this inside a SpeedGrader where it can be used to help you grade student assignments. So this was Canvas Rubrics. I hope you find this to be helpful as you move forward throughout your class.